Cerniak, our Director of Community Development, and Michelle Frederick, Planning Technician. Okay, first item on the agenda, consideration of approval of the minutes from October 24th, 2016 meeting. Does anybody have any comments or questions about the minutes? Hearing none, can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Move to approve the minutes from the October 24th
Second.
meeting.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, minutes approved. Thank you. Second item on the agenda, third item on the agenda, consideration of a request for a variance from the front and side yard setbacks to allow additions to 677 Spruce. Owner TMJC Holdings LLC and Representative Michael Bresman.
Bresman, correct.
Thank you. Before we start, any conflicts of interest or ex parte contacts from members of the board? Okay, if you could, you got it here somewhere. Raise your right hand, please. Swear you in. Do you solemnly declare and affirm that the testimony you're about to give is true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Thank you. Please proceed.
Chairman, board members, thank you for giving us the opportunity to present tonight. On behalf of Jamie Childs, I'm Michael Bresman. So we are requesting a variance for 677 Spruce Avenue. I'll give you a little bit of the zoning history. It was a 3-lot subdivision that was platted in 1950. The original zoning of the property was R2. The zoning changed to R4 in the 1980s. The front yard setback went from 40 to 50, and there is now a more restrictive side yard setback of 20 feet. A little bit of the property history is the home was built in 1966. There have been no exterior alterations in the 60 years. It was purchased by TMJ Holdings in fall of 2016, and we just received the certificate of appropriateness from HPC. The existing structure, this project is really driven by a few things, the design deficiencies. One is there's a minimal main staircase, very narrow, and front foyer. And it has an existing 2-car garage without the 3rd car or storage. The new additions are meant to handle those issues. Front and rear additions, the entry portico and foyer expansion. There's a family room and master suite addition that doesn't require any kind of variance. And then the garage expansion. Some zoning facts, the current zoning. The project complies with lot coverage, building scale, the rear setback, and then the east side yard setback. Existing non-compliance is the existing front of the garage is in non-compliance by almost 9 feet, and the existing west wall of the garage by almost 3.5 feet. A variance that we're requesting and is required for the front extended entry and portico, and then the garage addition. Some additional zoning facts, hardship and mitigating factors. Variance is required by change in the zoning requirements, which was created by the city and the change in the zoning back in the 1980s. The additions, the front portico and the garage, do not extend past the existing encroachments. The request that we're asking for is unique to these properties. It will not impede light or ventilation, and the additions are really the outcropping of and being created to conform to current living standards. And thus, they'll create value to the property and enhance the value to the neighboring properties as well. Some just quick neighborhood photos. Here's the site right here. There's some David Adlers around the corner. There's a Howard Van Doren Shaw. Different estate type homes, and then the more modest home, as you can see down here at 677 Spruce. That's the front elevation, very modest colonial. Here is the west side property. This is the existing mudroom off of the back of the house, the screened-in porch, and then you can see this is at about 17-plus feet from the side yard setback. A little bit different view of the rear. And then up close of the actual mudroom, and then the existing garage. And at first we thought, looking into this, that this was actually an addition because of the awkwardness of not only the screened-in porch, but the roofs of the mudroom. But after looking at the existing drawings, original drawings, it's actually original to the house. The site plan, you can see here the front portico here. We're actually popping out the front entrance. The front entrance here, and then the portico itself. The whole structure is behind the line of the existing garage, which is at 41 feet and change. And then here's the existing 50-foot current zoning, the 50-foot building setback. The garage addition, we're lining up with the existing mudroom. You can see the portion that would require the variance by the hatch here. And the amount off the current property line. And this portion here hatched is also the portion of livable square footage that would require variance. Landscape plans, real quick. This is actually not applicable anymore based on HPC. We've withdrawn that portion of the plan with having a turnaround in front. Just quickly, the rest of these slides are just give you a sense of scope of the project, and we can always go back to the site plan. But it's an extensive renovation. The first floor, this is demolition plan. You can see a lot of the interior walls that are being removed. The mudroom itself for the garage expansion. The front here, you can see the staircase, the narrow stair, kind of odd closets. And then this is the proposed first floor of the house. You can see here, essentially we're turning this, although from the front it's going to look like a two-car garage, it actually is a three-car garage. And we're doing that by extending off of the mudroom and getting rid of the mudroom and creating it into that tandem third car. The majority of the addition here, that doesn't require any variance. And then the more spacious foyer, wider staircase where it went from 3 feet to, I believe, 4.5 feet wide, and then the portico itself. This is a slide that kind of shows what the garage addition would be without the variance, and kind of just to highlight from a visual perspective that essentially a third car would not fit in there by holding to the line, because we wouldn't be able to get around the vehicle because of the man door here, and because of not really having any kind of clearances around the car. And what's shown here is just a mid-sized car. Again, for scope of work and just the overall sense of the project, second floor addition and the extent to what we're demolishing and removing from the house, reconfiguring. The second floor addition, again with the main addition back here. This is the roof of the portico in front. We are removing the roof over here for the garage to give it all one roof slope to kind of clean it up. Some of the existing elevations to the rear, removing a portion of that wall for the extended garage. Moving a portion of this wall here for the new portico. The garage itself is staying in place. It's still going to have a two-car garage door, and it's going to be enhanced by the design of the door itself. The existing side elevations, you can see here the flat roof of the mudroom and the existing roof line of the two-car garage, existing garage. And this is what we're proposing for the portico in front, the new garage doors, new windows down here. The main addition here, refenestrating the screen and porch on the existing slab to be economical. with materials, and then the extension of the new garage in back. Just a blow up of the front portico. And we haven't revised this yet as per HPC comments. They wanted it to be simplified a little bit, and we're planning on doing that. The rear, blow up of the rear. Again, just to give you a sense of scope of the project. And then the side elevation, the one that's being affected by the variance, we're all in the same plane, new roof line, kind of clean up what was there before. This is more functional from just a construction point of view and from water, from a water perspective and drainage. And then the other side, which doesn't require any kind of variance. Some enlarged elevations of the, this is the east side and then the west side. Roof slopes, again, this is one larger roof, portico roof with the balcony for the portico. Quick section, give a sense of scope of the project. Some more three-dimensional computer-generated rendering just to give a sense of massing. And all of this is within existing zoning. And then this is the portion right here that we're requesting to be able to extend to get that the third car in there. And this is a rendering of the finished product in the front of the home. And then I'll go back to the site plan. And if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, identification of issues by staff.
Thank you, Chairman Pickus. This is a request for approval of a front yard setback variance to allow the front entry and portico addition and a side yard setback variance along the western side of the property to expand the existing garage. As Mr. Bresman said, the Historic Preservation heard this petition in October, and they did support the petition generally as it's presented to you tonight. This property is part of the Spruce Lake subdivision, which was platted in 1950. On that plat, it indicates a 40-foot front yard setback, which is consistent with the R2 district, which this property was a part of until the 1980s when it was changed to R4. The application of that R4 zoning district resulted in this residence being non-conforming with respect to the front yard setback and the side yard setback, both in question tonight. Currently, the front of the house encroaches into the front yard approximately 9 feet, which is consistent with the petitioner's request in their front entry and portico addition. So their intent is not to bring it forward any further than the existing house sits today. The side yard variance request is also in keeping with the existing encroachment along the western side of the residence, and that's approximately 3.5 feet into the side yard setback, and that does include the eave and or gutter overhang in this case. And just of note to the board, these encroachment numbers do differ slightly than the numbers on the site plan in your packet, and it's to provide a cushion for any slight field measurement error that may occur. So they were very exact in their numbers, and we rounded slightly in ours. In the staff report, you have findings in fact in support of the petition, allowing the front entry portico addition to encroach into the front yard setback up to 9 feet, and the garage expansion into the side yard setback up to 3.5 feet. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Michelle. Okay, questions and requests for clarification from the board to petitioner or staff? Any questions from the board?
Could you show the rendering of the rear of the building again, please?
Of the rear?
Yes.
Sure. This one?
Is the garage on the far left side, is that what, it's still a one-story?
Yes.
That's the area of the encroachment that we're talking about in the back, correct?
Correct.
So will continue to be a single-story element?
Correct. The only thing we did was we just picked up the roof slope a little bit instead of a flat roof. We have a little bit more pitch because of, as you can see here, before it was like a flat roof to here to here. We've picked it up to a more of a kind of a shed roof, which HPC was fine with, and it's more of a functional aspect and just drainage and not having water issues down the road.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Any other questions? Okay, hearing none. Public testimony? Any public testimony on this petition? Okay, final questions from the board to petitioner staff. Okay, so no questions, then any additional comments from staff? Okay. All right, board discussion. Who wants to go first?
I think the packet is great. You guys did a really thorough job representing everything that you wanted to do. I don't think the variances are in any way, shape, matter, or form overreaching. I think you've been really respectful of the footprint that's already in place and trying to make this house today, usable for today, whatever, and accomplish that without having huge impact on the neighbors or on the existing zoning. I think your variance is appropriate, or your request for the variance is appropriate, and your utilization of the space that you're asking for is really efficient and really, really good.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty clear cut. I mean, I'd agree. I'd also just point out, I like both variances in terms of what you're doing with the property. I think the front entry portico is going to improve curb appeal and functionality, as well as, and just the marketability of the home in general with third car garage is something I'm happy to see, so good work.
Rich, any comments?
I don't have any comments.
No, I think it's well done. I agree with board member Novick that you know, the variance requests are modest, keeping with what you already have on the site. So I think it's a good plan. Okay, any other comments from the board? Can I get a motion to approve this petition as submitted? Anybody?
Yeah, motion to approve the variance as presented for the front entry portico addition to encroach into the 50-foot front yard setback, a distance not to exceed 9 feet, as well as a garage expansion to encroach into the 20-foot side yard setback, a distance not to exceed 3.5 feet.
Motion. You have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, petition approved. Congratulations. Okay, moving on to the next item on the agenda. We have a periodic code review and cleanup, a review of the section of the Zoning Board of Appeals of the City Code. Staff, would you like to let us know what you had on your mind?
Sure. Thank you, Chairman Pickus. Because you had a light agenda tonight, as we periodically do, we wanted to bring the code section related to the Zoning Board of Appeals forward. The City Council asked us to do this periodically. I think the Zoning Board last saw this in 2013, and before that in 2009. I believe in 2009, there were more substantial changes as we were aligning the various boards and commissions as far as membership and duties in various aspects. So in staff's review, we did not find anything major. There are 4 minor edits recommended. The first one is really the only one that is much more than just a word clarification. The first change clarifies that the Zoning Board of Appeals sees only requests for amendments to existing special use permits. New special use permits are considered by the Plan Commission. The other changes, again, were really grammatical or clarification. So if you determine it's appropriate to do so, you could recommend to the City Council approval of this refinement to the City Code. Again, we're going through section by section, chapter by chapter, and not so much in the section related to you, but in other sections, we are removing things like provisions for ice delivery trucks and the hours that they can operate, and delivery of coal, and some of those things we're keeping for historical purposes in other locations, but taking out of our code so we can try and streamline it. So if you choose to do so, it'll be appropriate to make a motion to recommend approval of this section as revised to the City Council.
So I do have a question. So regarding that first item about applications for special use permits, has it always been in the Plan Commission, or is this a recent change since 2013?
Prior to 1997, the Plan Commission heard all special use permits and all amendments. And I don't know exactly when, I wasn't here, but sometime in the late 80s or early 90s, the Plan Commission was seeing 4 to 8 subdivisions at each of their meeting. And so the responsibility for considering amendments to special use permits was peeled off from the Plan Commission and assigned to the Zoning Board. So the Plan Commission used to handle everything, but for instance, Lake Forest Academy, that use is already approved and established as a special use permit. When they want to do something different, when they want to add lights or change roads or build buildings, that will come before you.
So it's been 20 years, 15, 20 years since then that change is made. I'm just curious. So we just kind of noticed it now and...
Yes.
Okay.
And that, as many times as we go through the code, there's always something we find, but in this section, we found very little.
Sure. Okay.
So, Chairman Pickus, so if I could clarify with Kathy, so new special use permits currently go to the Plan Commission?
Yes.
And they have been doing so, part of is the Plan Commission's section of code that applies to the Plan Commission consistent with that in essence, that's what their section says already, that special use permits go to them?
Yes, the Plan Commission section of the code was reviewed 2 to 3 months ago. And yes, we are aligning this. And again, the Plan Commission used to be responsible for all special use permits. This is just clarifying better a change that was made some 20 years ago or more.
Okay, thank you.
Does anybody have any other questions for staff on this? Okay, I have no problem with this. I think it's good that we're getting, touching up, cleaning up a little bit. Can I get a motion to approve these amendments as made by staff?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Recommendation to the City Council that these changes be approved. Okay, other opportunity for the public to address the Zoning Board of Appeals on matters not on the agenda. Hearing none, we will have consideration of the 2017 Zoning Board of Appeals calendar.
Chairman Pickus, this is a typical thing for the board to see at the end of the calendar year. There is one change noted to what would be the normal March meeting date falls over the week of spring break. So the adjusted April 4th date noted here just bumps that a week later into April to allow everyone to get back in from out of town. We will continue to poll the board as we normally do and can adjust meetings as necessary throughout the year.
Okay. Does anybody have any objections to this proposed schedule?
I have a question, just when you say the April 4th, I have that as a Tuesday, is that intentional? That we're kicking it not just to the following Monday, we're going to the following Tuesday?
Yes, the following Monday would be a city council meeting, so I apologize. That's a Tuesday date, but the following week after spring break.
Thank you.
Thank you for noticing that, Mr. Lewis. Appreciate that. This doesn't require board action, does it? To approve the calendar?
Actually, yes.
It does,
We'd like a
okay.
motion just to make it official.
Okay, well, then,
So moved.
all in favor of approving
Aye.
the calendar? Aye. Okay, calendar approved.
Thank you.
With that, I think we're done, so I will entertain one more motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
All right. Adjourned.
I think we've got you at 27 minutes
fastest
right
meeting.
there.
Record, but it might be close.
It's my own personal record, thank you.
Fastest meeting.